We have a concept of domestic security. And, well, it's public. You can read all the reasons for nuclear arms to be used. So if it is an existential threat for our country, then it can be used in accordance with our concept.
Spokesperson for Vladimir Putin refusing to rule out the use of nuclear weapons. This as Russian ground forces continue to make little progress in Ukraine. And here to talk about it, Kash Patel, former DoD Chief of Staff. Kash, just listen to Admiral Kirby from the Pentagon responding to Peskov.
The kind of rhetoric that's been out there on the use of potential use of nuclear weapons or changes in nuclear posture is it's dangerous, and it's not the way a responsible nuclear power should act.
Kash, your thoughts on
Well, Dana, good to be with you guys. Trace, good morning. Of course, anytime you talk about nuclear weapons, it is the last option. But from a Russian perspective, why would they say we're not going to use nuclear weapons? Why would they be off the table? From a Defense Department perspective, we, America, should never say nuclear weapons are off the table.
Right. I was just saying to you right before the show started, like, if the question had been reversed, I mean, you never say that. If you say, of course, we have no intention, there's nothing here, there's nothing that is on the table in regards to nuclear weapons. But if you're talking about your own security, I just think that maybe CNN got a little bit over its skis.
Yeah,
to make this into a bigger headline than it needs to be.
Yeah, hopefully Joe Biden doesn't go out and say nuclear weapons are off the table. But the difference is, the stark difference is, we have a Defense Department that is allowing these conversations to occur because they are tracing President Putin's steps and not getting ahead of it.
It's interesting because when I was listening to the Kremlin spokesperson earlier, I went back and I read that Russian concept of domestic security, and you look at it, I mean, it pretty much lists everything. Everything's on the table. NATO expansion eastward, major military presence in Russia's immediate proximity, outbreak or escalation of conflict near the Russian border. They can rationalize using nuclear weapons with pretty much anything.
Well, let's remind everybody, they're at war. President Putin decided to go to war. So when war is on the table, nuclear options are on the table, kinetic strikes are on the table, military manning on the ground is on the table. Everything's on the table. So from their perspective, why would they take off one of the
So we heard from President Biden as he was leaving, and so that question, it was hard to hear what he said when he was asked about how concerned he is about the possible threat of chemical weapons. And he said, I think it's a real threat. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I harken back to my time in the Trump administration when chemical weapons were used in Syria, and you know, he had the audacity to go ahead, rightly so, and barrel bomb the chemical weapons and put the Syrian regime, you know, down. Hopefully, the Russian regime doesn't use chemical weapons, because the biggest people that lose are the civilians on the ground for generations to come. And chemical weapons are akin to nuclear weapons. They just have a drastic and awful effect on the human population.
We just talked about the fact that President Biden is heading to Brussels. He's going to announce more sanctions on Russia, you know, however, well, and does that's the question. You say, well, more sanctions. Is that an admission that the original sanctions haven't worked so far? They haven't deterred or stopped this Russian invasion, and maybe they should have been put in place a lot sooner?
Yeah, this is a great point that no one's talking about. You don't trail with sanctions. You lead with sanctions. Sanctions are part of a trifold regime. And if you give me 30 seconds, I'll explain. We did it with Iran in the Trump administration. We led with sanctions that crippled their economy and shut down their leadership. Then we brought in kinetic force to take out Qasem Soleimani. Then we brought in the last piece, the diplomatic piece, to return American hostages home from Iran, more so than any other presidency. That's how you do diplomatic sanctions work, with the threat of kinetic force. You don't trail with sanctions.
So President Biden's on his way to NATO. One of the conversations will be, what can they do to help bring an end to this war? It's in everyone's interest to bring an end to it, and it even is probably for Putin, though he may not admit that yet. But that's what we're looking at. I am interested in your thoughts on what they can do, NATO, to help try to bring about an end to this, and also any thoughts that you have about President Putin's positioning here with his military.
I think Zelensky's in the best position to bring an end to this war, because he's utilizing at least a diplomatic approach. He's met with 4 times with Putin in his regime. It hasn't been successful, but he's going in there and wielding those efforts. That's the only way to draw down out of war. But there needs to be a threat of an alliance behind that diplomatic energy, which hopefully NATO will give him. Putin's threats to use soldiers anywhere and everywhere, basically, should scare everybody, because he will do it. It doesn't cost him any money, and in his mind, former GRU intelligence officer and pretty good one, he's thinking, how do I stay in power forever, which the Russian mandate already gave him, and that's by expanding Russia.
Yeah, I just wanted to very quickly ask you this whole idea of using a tactical nuke versus a nuke. Is there a difference in your mind?
I mean, in my civilian military mind as a former Pentagon chief, yes, but in reality, no. A nuke is a nuke. It is a drastic last measure.
Kash Patel, I hope you come back often. We love having you here. Thank you. And I know you two were on Gutfeld last night and very funny. Very, very funny, you two. Great to have you.
Thank you, Kash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.